Hello there everyone, how you doing today? Welcome to the channel where if you eat a burger to feel better, you've technically got an emotional support animal. Welcome to r/entitled parents, where the parents are extremely entitled. If you enjoy the stories we've got here, remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and check me out at twitch.tv/CountJulius. Now, without further ado, let's get started and read some stories. You will date my daughter or I will get you fired is the title of this story. So for some context, I'm a 17-year-old male and I work at a Segway tour company. It's actually really fun. I get to ride Segways around the city and talk to people, and I get paid to do it. Plus, the tipping isn't all too bad. So anyway, there was a tour booked a couple of days ago and I came in about 20 minutes early to answer emails and get everything ready. The group shows up, mother and daughter, and that's when things get interesting. I'm not going to insult your intelligence by telling you what EP and me stand for, but D means daughter and FBI stands for Federal Bureau of Investigation, just for some useful info. EP and D come in and I check them in. Alright, I have some waivers for you to sign, D. How old are you? 16. Okay, then you don't need to sign a waiver. I ask this because if kids are younger than 18, their parents sign the waivers for them. But EP only heard me say the first part, not when I said D did need to sign a waiver, so she thought I was just asking her daughter how old she was. And this is probably what started it all. We go on the tour, and while I'm giving my spiel, EP keeps interrupting me to tell me stuff about D to find if we're compatible. And so, this non-profit organization opened in... Are you in college? No, I'm in junior in high school. I'm usually pretty free with info about myself on tours because it helps people relax and initiates conversations during lulls in the tour. Plus, as always, it helps with tipping. Winky face. Oh, D is also a junior. She's an artist. Stuff like this keeps happening through the tour, and every time D gets redder and redder. My mom does this too, where she just tells random mall attendants things about me, so I know what Dee's going through and I feel her pain totally. At the end of the tour, I tell the two of them that they have 15 minutes to go around the town, and then they can meet me back in the Segway place. I get back and start getting things set up for their return. They roll in, pardon the pun, and I take their Segways to start charging them. So what do you think of my daughter? The entitled parent says. Pardon me, what? I saw you checking her out during the tour. Are you gonna ask her out? And D says, Mom, stop! I say, ma'am, I actually recently got out of a relationship, and I'm really not looking for anything right now. What? Huh? Is my daughter not good enough for you? No, that's not it. I just said that I just got out of a relationship. You are going to date my daughter, and that's final. You can't tell me what to do. I'm not your child, and I don't want to date your daughter. If I don't want to, I don't have to. Besides, you haven't even asked her if she wants to date me. Yeah, I don't want to date him. See? I am going to call your boss and tell him about your terrible customer service. You're never gonna work in, insert city name here, again. Pulling out my phone, I'd say, alright, you want to call him and explain the situation? How you're trying to force me to date your daughter and get me fired for saying no. Then I guess the absurdity of the situation finally sunk in, and her face transitioned from pure rage to slight confusion. Well, maybe I don't want to. No, let's call him now. I start to go through my contacts, and I press my boss's name. Let's have this conversation. I don't think that's a good idea. And then, the phone starts ringing. The entitled parent just goes, Daughter, let's go. The entitled parent runs out the door. D turns to me and says, I'm sorry, and then follows her mom. I hang up the phone before my boss answers and start cleaning the Segways. I have some more stories for my work. Y'all tell me if you want to hear more. Someone in the comments says, Plot twist, OP and EP's daughter bond over the disgust of the entitled parent's behavior and start dating. Wouldn't that be the twist of a century, eh? For our next story, we've got entitled Mom Tries to Deny Her Dying Son His Wish and then tries to kill him because the books I got for him are satanic. So here's some backstory. I'm in a D&D group with a couple of friends from nearby, and one of the members from this group was a kid who was about 15 years old. He's a really sweet kid, likes helping other people out, and he's a big fan of Dungeons & Dragons. He also has cancer in both his lungs. He's from a religious family that basically forces him to act pure while he's in their sight. The mom is WBC level rabid, while the dad is just a normal, sensible person who just tries to get him books he was allowed to own, Christian books and Bibles. He joined our group mainly as a way to escape his home life and his mom. A couple of weeks ago, the cancer in his lungs started to get to him, so he was taken to a hospital by his parents. He contacted me about this the day he was taken to the hospital, stating that he wanted a monster manual as his last wish, stating that he was tired of reading the same things. So I bought him the book from Barnes & Noble, but considering that he's dying, I got him Volo's Guide to Monsters and Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes stacked on top of that. The next day, which was his birthday, he was still in the hospital, so I bought him the books as a gift. After he blew out the candles, we had cake and started opening gifts. Mine was the first to be opened. Seeing what they were, he immediately got this humongous grin on his face and hugged me. Meanwhile, his mom stared down at the books with a look of pure disgust, with her husband staring at her with this wary look in his eyes. She picks up one of the books and relights one of the candles and holds the damn book over it to try and set it on fire. I managed to stop her and demand, "What the friggle-froggles are you doing? He asked me to get those books and I'm not going to let you take them away." His mom simply stared me down and said something along the lines of, "Those books are sinful, satanic, and full of evil, and your son had no business with them." I retort and say that her son could read what he wants, and that she shouldn't have to force him to be Christian. She starts getting red in the face and yelling at me about essentially forcing children to believe in God from a young age. I state that I'm a Baptist, which I actually am, and say that faith in God is a matter between God and the individual. She turns red all over and actively starts to try and destroy the books, with me, my friend, and her husband trying to stop her. At one point I shouted, "Would God want you to do this, to restrict your own dying son's freedom of expression?" right in her face. And this sets her goddamn ablaze. She tosses the books aside and tries to strangle her son, and her son calls security immediately when she does this. Security gets here about a minute or two later, with us trying to pry EM off of her son and drag her away, with her shouting that we're all catamites to the devil, whatever that means. Both her husband and my friend charge her with child abuse, assault, and attempted murder. The trial's still going, and I'll try to update this post as the trial goes on. Edit 4. Trial was almost a disaster. Me, him, and her husband all prosecuted against her. The moment she saw us, she tried to tackle us, shouting something about divine retribution. But the officers restrained her. During the whole thing, she kept pinning the blame on me and him, calling us corrupted by sin. Needless to say, she was pronounced guilty of all 3 charges I mentioned earlier. The moment she heard this, she went apeshit and tried to attack the judge, but the officers tased her to the floor. Now she'll be serving 20 years for the other 3 charges, with 10 more on top of assaulting a court official. Thanks for all the support you guys gave us. To all of you who are wondering, my friend's fine. The cancer is now gone from his lungs. That woman puts my own insanity to shame. And trust me, I may be reasonably insane, but the doctors do say I'm like certifiably insane. But she's way worse, holy crud. Entitled Mom Gets Mad at Me for Beating Her Son in a Boxing Match. So this happened a few months ago. I go to a boxing gym, and I'm pretty good at it. There was this kid who's around 14, the same age as me. I'll be calling him EK. His mom came to watch him box. Probably me, BC is boxing coach and EK is entitled kid, EM is entitled mom. So BC put me in a sparring session with the kid. I kept hitting him with hooks and jabs and stuff, and by the time it was over, you could see he wasn't happy. His ego was hurt pretty badly. And that's when entitled mom yells at the top of her throat, "How dare you!" You talking to me? Yes! What did I do? You hurt my child! How could you let this animal hurt my child? It's boxing, ma'am, BC says. And I was just standing there feeling a bit awkward, and the entitled kid says, "Mom, please." And then she ignored her kid and started demanding that I be kicked out from the gym and put in jail. She tried to climb into the ring, but security pulled her out. Then BC told her, "Ma'am, if you don't want your kid to be hurt, maybe boxing isn't the right sport for him." She yelled, "I'm gonna sue this place!" And she stormed out with EK. She was probably bluffing. She never sued anybody there. So you want to get a TKO in the courtroom too, or are you just losing your mind effectively now? That's what I'd say to the mom. Thank you all for watching today's video. If you enjoyed, remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and I will see you all next time. Have a great day, or else I'm stealing your kneecaps, alright? Glad we could be clear on that.